you reading?
A book.
Hello, hey, welcome to Tither with the K. We are doing something a little different today. I wrote a script, and I mentioned in one of my wrap-ups of the year videos that I was gonna potentially start writing scripts in the new year. This is the first one I've made, but I haven't memorized it, and I don't really want to take the time to memorize it. So what I'm gonna do for the first few minutes of this video, I will be looking down. I'll put it here so I'll try to look at you as much as possible, but yeah, as you might know, I really like Degrassi, The Next Generation. My very first video that I posted on YouTube were Degrassi compilations. I've watched all 385 episodes in 14 seasons 3 times. The first time I finished it in 54 days. The most recent time I watched with my sister, and we filmed a video about it that you should totally go watch. I'll give you the link even. I'll give you the link. So generous, so generous. So after the recent success of the last Degrassi video I published, which again was the video with my sister, I thought it was high time to somehow connect my favorite show with the focus of this channel mostly, which is reading. And what did I land on? Well, you know by now, since you clicked on this video. I'm recommending books to Degrassi characters. I hope to make this a series of some sort. Each video I'll pick 4 Degrassi characters and recommend them 1 book each. I'll also have a general recommendation for all the characters at the very end. You may be wondering, how ever did I choose books for these fictional people I can't even talk to? Well, I had 2 methods. For some of these Degrassi characters, I had ideas right away when it came to recommendations, but for the majority, I just had to think, what came first to my mind in terms of their personality? I feel like the books that I end up liking have some elements that I can relate to in some way. For example, I like The Savage Song by Victoria Schwab so much because it has some music representation, which is rare in books that I usually read. Also made a video about that, but you can find it yourself. I like Percy Being a Wallflower because I can be on the more introverted side, and so was the main character in that book, Charlie. I don't know, these are just some examples. Tell me in the comments, why do you think you like your favorite books? What do all your favorite books have in common? I haven't really thought about that, a lot either, but that's a good thing to think about, I think, maybe. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to first tell you all the characters I chose, then I one by one describe each character and the book I recommend them. I'll also be recommending an order of when they were introduced in the show. And that's all the script that I wrote. I feel like I know Degrassi enough that I can spontaneously talk about why I recommend these books to them, but also I've thought about it a little bit, because that's how I came to the decision of these specific books for each character. So, yeah. Let's start with all the characters. So the characters that we are covering in this video include Emma Nelson, Hazel Auden, Craig Manning, and Fiona Cohen. I actually do have physical copies of some of these books. I forgot to get them. Oh, I'm always so unprepared when it comes to this channel. Give me a second. Alright, so let's get started. Did I already say that was on the script? Okay, so I found the books. At least the books that I own physical copies of. And yeah, we're just going to go one by one. We start off with Emma. Emma is introduced in the first season of the first episode. She's literally the main character. She's, I think either the first or the second person that we see ever in Degrassi The Next Generation. Manny and Emma have the first scene, and they're reading a letter from Emma's email friend named Jordan. So Emma was one of those characters that I knew right away which book I wanted to recommend to her. Near the beginning of the TV show, more than near the end, she has an environmental kick. She's very environmentally conscious. I think she's vegetarian. I think she actually gets suspended for standing up for environmental rights. She does this whole presentation with Principal Radich about GMOs, I think, being in the tomatoes that they eat, and she says you can barely taste the scorpion. I remember that line. So yeah, when I think of Emma, at least first off, I think of the environment. So I decided to recommend her a book that I actually don't have a physical copy of. Not starting off strong. Challenge Everything by Blue Sanford. I read this book, I think sometime last year during a long weekend, I'm pretty sure. And Challenge Everything is written by Blue Sanford, who is a social activist focused on climate change, and her book gives you tips on how to be better environmentally. I can't even remember that much. I know it's a pretty quick read, but I feel like Emma would appreciate it since she loves the environment so much. Later in the show, I also remember she goes on like a bicycle run, like a bicycle marathon or something, also for the environment, I think. So yeah, this is honestly the recommendation that I'm like the most embarrassed of, because like it's not that good, because I'm literally recommending her based on like one part of her personality that doesn't really show up that often in the show. But whatever. Okay, so the next person is Hazel Aden, and she is introduced in the 10th episode of season 1. She is in like the little sequence when they're spreading the rumor about Liberty and Mr. Armstrong, and she gets the rumor from Paige, and she like walks, and then Sean overhears it, and then like Sean shares the rumor, and like on and on and on. So yeah, and Hazel was one of the less developed characters in Degrassi. However, she did get an episode for herself. I can't remember what it was, what it was called at least, or like the number of the episode. I'll probably put it aside me. I can do that. But basically, I think it was actually like a school-wide event where everybody had to represent their culture for a day. So they wore like traditional outfits from like where their parents came from. And Hazel is from Somalia, but she, in that episode, kind of struggles with her cultural identity. She lies and tells everybody that she's from Jamaica originally, but eventually she comes clean and admits that she's her family is from Somalia. I guess she was. You'll have to watch the episode, but I'm pretty sure a reason was because she was a little scared of how people would look at her if they knew that she was Muslim. Actually, there's another character in that episode. I can't remember her name. I'm thinking Farida, but that may not be it. Who wears a hijab at her school, and Hazel actually like calls her out on it. Like she gives her a ticket from the fashion police for wearing the hijab, and she's not the kindness to Farida. Like, not the kindness is really like oversimplifying it. Just watch the episode. But yeah, what I'm choosing to recommend to her is Black Enough by E.B. Zaboy. Now this is a book that I didn't particularly enjoy myself. I didn't even like Challenge Everything that much either, but I'd say I like Black Enough more than this. More than Challenge Everything. But anyway, Black Enough is made up of a series of short stories written by various African American authors, teen YA authors, all about being black in America. I definitely liked stories much more than other stories. Some of them were literally just boring, but some of them were really good. There isn't a story in this with a Muslim main character, but in one of the stories, which is called Hackathon Summers, I'm pretty sure, it is by Co Booth. The main character, has a crush on a Muslim girl, and she kind of struggles with her identity as well. Or maybe not struggles, but like Hazel, she doesn't wear a hijab. When during the camp that they go to, she just doesn't wear like all the time, just like Hazel. So I feel like Hazel may appreciate learning about other black people's stories, even though they are made up, because Hazel is definitely one of the few ones. They have this thing in Degrassi. Hazel is the only exception, I actually feel like, thinking about it, where every single black person has to be related in some way. Like, hear me out. Literally, I'm serious. Liberty was like the first black person. In Liberty, of course, her brother has to be Danny. Okay? And then Shantae, when Shantae shows up, Shantae, of course, has to be cousins with Dave. Okay, and then Connor is the godson of Archie, so, like, that's not necessary. Like, at least, basically, black people have to have an in to go to the school. I said it. Obviously, the show isn't perfect. We never said that. But, anyway, yeah. Hazel, you should read this. Cool. Okay, next we have Craig. Craig Manning. He was introduced in the first episode of season 2. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Hold on. Sorry. Excuse me. Craig has been through a lot. From the very first episode, he starts going through a lot. He lives with an abusive father. His mother has passed away. He's struggling to have a relationship with his stepsister named Angela. The actress that plays Angela actually shows up twice in the show as 2 different characters. First, she is, what's his stepdad's name? I always forget. I'm thinking Pete, but that's not it. Joey, that's it. I didn't even have to look. It's Joey. Joey's daughter, Angie, is played by, the person that plays Manny's younger sister, and then the same actress shows up later as Tori in, like, season 10, season 11, season 12, around there. So yeah. The actress's name is Alex Steele, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, yeah. Craig has been through a lot. He also has bipolar disorder, and that also obviously affects his life. He leaves the show for a while to pursue a music career, and then I think he does leave, yeah. And then when he comes back, he's addicted to cocaine. And my sister and I mentioned that little story arc, kind of, in our degrassi video, again, which you should watch, please, if you'd like to. But yeah, he has not had an easy life, let's just say. And I thought about this book for him. Solo by Kwame Alexander. This is a book, part of my favorite ever bookshelf. It was like around here. This is a story about somebody named Blade Morrison, who lives in Hollywood, and he has a father that has substance use issues. And Blade also plays an instrument. You see on the cover, he plays the guitar, and Craig plays the guitar as well. His ex-girlfriend actually gave him a guitar, her grandfather's guitar. Ashley. You know Ashley? Okay. But I believe this video can probably alternatively be titled Kyler flexing about his Degrassi knowledge. But, yeah. Let me tell you a bit more about it. Like, Craig and Blade have a father that isn't the best father, that isn't around for them in one way or another. Like, I don't really know if this will be like, I want to spoil books in here. I don't know. Just read it. I like it. I also have a review of it, actually. But yeah, just follows. It's actually like a pretty big book, but it is in the format of verse, which is similar to like a song. So like, basically like every line isn't fully written across, right? It's like in the format of this verse. It's like my favorite format. Kwame Alexander he's the king of it. And actually, I'm really excited. I don't think I've ever mentioned this anywhere, but I'm pretty excited. I found out the other day, like maybe 2 weeks ago or something, that they're actually making an adaptation of one of his books, The Crossover. I think it was his very first book, and they're putting it on Disney Plus. Maybe I'll make a video about it, because I do like that book. I don't own a copy, but I have read it a couple of times, and I've enjoyed it. I think it was actually the first book by Kwame Alexander. Maybe not. Yeah, never mind. That wasn't the first book I read. I think Solo was the first book that I read by him, but, yeah. I'd say this book is a bit, it's definitely not adult, but I feel like it's a bit less teeny I guess, yeah, just like the substance abuse aspects of it, and like there's some death involved in it as well. But at the end, it's hopeful, and I think Greg needs some hope. Greg needs some good times along with bad times. This book has like a good mix of both, I feel like. And yeah, I hope he enjoys it. I feel like Craig is the person to read. Or maybe he's the person that's like, no, I don't read for fun. But then like when he reads a book, he like really likes it when he finds the right book. And this perhaps may be it. So Craig, give this one a try. Now we are going to the final person. And we're literally skipping 7 seasons. As I said earlier, Craig is season 2, episode 1, and our final person of interest named Fiona Coyne is introduced in season 9, episode 1. Fiona, if I can describe her in one word, is rich. As in her family is rich. I'm pretty sure her father is he a diplomat? I'm not sure actually. But he's rich, and her mother's rich too. She's also a twin. Her twin's name is Declan, and Declan is annoying, so I don't even want to talk about him. It's all about Fiona, and the book that I recommend to her is called Ace of Spades. That's really funny. I didn't even really mean to do this intentionally, but every single book on this list I have made a review for. Challenge everything I don't think I've put online though, like on YouTube, but yeah. And Ace of Spades is a book that is described as Gossip Girl meets Get Out, and after reading it, that's like literally, that really summarizes the book. And maybe it's better to not know that going into it, so sorry. Why do I recommend this to Fiona? First of all, this book is a dark academia book, I'd say. It's not like heavy dark academia, but like it is kind of. If you want to know what dark academia means, you may want to look for that somewhere else, because I'm not really sure how to describe it. I know it's just books that take place in the school setting. Sometimes they have like this kind of pretentious tone. Examples, if that helps, is one of my favorite books of last year, If We Are Villains. A book called, what is it called? It's the author is Donna Tartt. I can't remember the name of the book. I'm pretty sure Babel, which I got for Christmas, which is actually over here, is also a dark academia book. Fiona, for a short time on the show, we saw her as she went to school at like a rich private school, and she did not have the best time there, and the characters in this book also do not have the best time in their high school, so you can relate to that, Fiona. There's also some queer representation, and as Fiona is a lesbian, she may appreciate that as well. Talks a lot about privilege, and I feel like sometimes Fiona needs to check her privilege, because although her family does get bankrupt during the show, if not bankrupt, they definitely do lose money sometime in the show. Like, Fiona definitely needs to remember how privileged she is sometimes. And this kind of puts an insight on it. Like, the two main characters are African American, and they're in a predominantly white space, but they like also sometimes at least feel like they don't really belong. And I also feel like sometimes that's how Fiona feels as well. Like, especially when she made the allegations against Bobby, people were like hesitant to believe her at first. I feel like it's like a specific season of Fiona. I think it would be season 12. I think that's the second season that she was in. And at the beginning of that, I'm pretty sure at the private school. So this is for season 12 Fiona specifically, okay? Before she goes to Degrassi. As in the school, not the show. And finally is the like overarching recommendation. Okay, so like every video, as I mentioned, I'll be doing this recommendation, and every single time this 5th recommendation isn't specifically for the characters that I mentioned in the video. It's more like a recommendation for every Degrassi character. Okay, and today's is called Don't Call Me Crazy. edited by Kelly Jensen. I don't have a physical copy of this book. I read this in sophomore year. I think it was actually during 2021, I'm pretty sure. And it has a lot of different authors, and actually not only authors, I'm pretty sure it's like artists as well. People in, like, I guess the creative fine arts field, I'm pretty sure. They write about their own mental health journeys and mental health as a concept as well. So maybe they will find somebody that thinks like they do by reading this book. Also, what happened to me actually is, after reading a person's like entry in this collection of, like, I wouldn't call it stories, this collection of, like, I guess essays kind of, I found like authors that I liked, and they had books that I wanted to read in the past, and I was like, after I read their entry, I was like, you know, I really like their writing style. I'm actually gonna like actually read their book. That happened with Victoria Schwab, who wrote The Savage Song. There's also another person involved in that book, I'm pretty sure, who wrote a book called This Is Where It Ends, which I also have a review of. I promise I'm literally not even planning this. I was worried it would happen, and it happened. My memory card ran out of storage, but I have another one, but I'm going to make this short because this memory card is 128 gigabytes, and if I film for too long, then it's going to take way too long to monitor and like import to video, so then it just wouldn't import out at all because it's so long. So for some reason the computer just stops uploading it, and like the bar just stops moving, and then I just get exasperated, so I don't want to make this video too long. So this is going to be more of the outro. So yeah, those are the different books I recommend to our first 4 people. I don't know how often this video series, I'll make a video for this series. This did take, not like a lot of planning, but like a little planning. I have in my notebook that I use for YouTube a list of every single Degrassi character, and yeah. It would also help to have like a master list of all the books that I've ever read, but like, first of all, that's just not realistic, and second of all, that would take way too much time. Maybe long term I can try to do like every single person on this list, but like I'll start with like main-ish characters first. But what am I even saying? Like, who is considered a main character? I feel like everybody on this list, according to Wikipedia, is like a main character. But yeah, there are lots of contenders here. I can't promise to do this like chronological, based on like when they were introduced, cause yeah, I can't do that. But the people that I'm excited to recommend books to, just looking at the list right now, I'd say Manny, JT, Derek. I don't like Derek, but it'd be nice. It'll be cool to try to find a book for him. Imogen, Maya. Yeah, so many people, so many people. Good thing we have the time. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing and liking this video if you liked it. I think this is cool. Maybe I'll start recommending books more often. I feel like I don't really do recommendation videos, and I like them. They're fun. So yeah, maybe in the future I'll commit to those. But cool. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye. Oh, also, watch Degrassi, please. It's on Tubi, not sponsored, and you should go watch it. To appreciate this video fully, I think you need to watch the show. So, if you want to appreciate this video fully, I hope you're going to go watch the show, or you've already watched the show. So yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.